It's not like the these usually start with any plan. They just
And
kind of go.
totally overrated.
Yeah,
We don't
yeah.
do plans.
Well,
Yeah.
it's kind of like that Mark Maron bit where it's just like, well, why plan? Because like if I pull this off, I'm a genius. But if it goes in flames, like it's just like, well, it's not like we prepared, like you get
Yeah.
what you do.
No
Home run
pressure.
swings.
No pressure.
Yeah, there really isn't. Yeah, no. So if Lane wants to join in, also no pressure if not too, because like I understand that this is like a weird time, like the mid morning slot. Like it's just like low key in the day where like you might not have things going on, but it's also like just in the part of the day where it's just like it kind of if things aren't going on, they're about to. I guess.
Yeah, with the hors
So,
d'oeuvres.
Things are
yeah,
revving up for sure.
yeah. Speaking of that, I definitely want to talk about the release show, and then since we're kind of getting ahead of the game, definitely kind of want to talk about the record itself. But if there's anything outside of like those two things, because that is why we do things like morning radio, as we have stuff to talk about and promote. Let me know, because we can just talk about that. Like there's like two different audiences for these things. It's just like the radio audience, and then there's like the streaming audience. Um, Sometimes there are people who try to like sync up and do both, but it's mostly kind of two people on their own islands. So there might be some things that get redundant if I feel like there's something worth mentioning in this portion. So yeah, bear with me on that if I get a little repetitive. But other than that, yeah, after this song, which is kind of a long one, there's like 2 minutes left. We're going to be on the air as well as on the internet, which there are a few people watching. Hi, thank you for tuning in once again. Sorry, I'm not attentive to the comments. I never am, week in, week out. I suck at it. I see them after the fact, and then I feel like it's weird to respond to them at that point. So that's why I don't. But thank you for watching. Up, and then someone left after.
Don't acknowledge them. Just
I get it. I get
You're
it.
they're
like, well,
ghosts.
they were just here for you.
I
Well, they
highly
got
doubt
their mention, and they're done now. Yeah.
So yeah, about 90 seconds left on this tune. Probably will do that awkward thing when we do this radio break where I ask for names, just because it's radio. They can't actually see us. So we'll kind
Yeah,
of do that thing. Maybe we'll do an icebreaker if we have time. And then get
Trust
that
fall.
ball rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like now that we got video, we might as well take advantage. Spice
Yeah.
things up a little bit. But yeah, that's going to be happening in, less than a minute at this point. So stand by. I'll probably do a station ID just because it's the top of the next hour. And a new hour, new me. And then we'll get going. So thank you for coming on the show. And yeah, stand by. Although this is kind of a quiet track with a long fade out. So it's not like it's as urgent as I thought it was. Most tracks have like a big abrupt fade out, and then it's just like, hi, and it can be
Oh, hello, I'm here.
but yeah, okay, so okay, now actually stand by. Black Country, New Road, Snow Globes off of Ants from Up Here. We also had some Baby Mahi and Big Thief in that set. Baby Mahi was a pick off of the 10 records that Full Catholic would bring to a desert island. And we have a few more picks on that list. I think only 3 more, which is good timing because I am joined by Full Catholic right now. Well, hopefully, can you still hear me?
Yes, loud and
Yeah, we
clear.
are joining you.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. So for the folks who haven't been following us off mic, we are chatting with Full Catholic online. You can follow us on, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, whatever you're doing. But for the folks who aren't able to look at us and see us, who am I talking to right now? Because I don't have everyone in Full Catholic, just some of Full Catholic, maybe half Catholic.
Dan, you want to go first?
Yeah, so I'm Danny, and I play bass and sing and play guitar sometimes and write some of the Full Catholic songs. And that's me.
Yeah, and I'm John. I play guitar. I play synthesizer. Every now and then you'll hear a little just tiny fleck of my voice in the background, but not really a singer. And I write some songs for Full Catholic. And I guess we should also just mention who's not with us too, right?
Right, yeah.
We've got Lane is our other guitarist and sings a lot more than me, writes some great songs for us, plays bass here and there. And then Dez is our drummer, and writes some good stuff too.
Thank you for taking us with that. It's really hard when we're not all in the same room. We can't pass the talking stick around. So thank you for speaking for those of us who are not here. And thank you for joining me today. So this whole mixtape is made from the 10 records you would bring to a desert island. We have some M Ward and some Low coming up, but we also have some Deer Hunter, which I know in the past y'all have mentioned in previous recording sessions. You took a lot of inspiration from Deer Hunter. Would you say you took the similar inspiration from that band on these sessions for this upcoming record, or did you go in a new direction this time around?
Well, I don't know. And I'm gonna answer a little bit for Lane because I think he's the biggest deer hunter of us all. I don't know. I don't think, and I can speak for myself personally. I don't feel like for this album there was kind of just songs in my ears that were kind of just getting channeled into the music so much. I think it's a little bit more they're just kind of all floating around in our backgrounds and just kind of squeeze out imperceptibly into the music in different ways. So I think it's probably there in both albums, and maybe subtly and less kind of direct channeling.
Yeah. Who did you work with this go around?
Yeah, we worked with Tony Willamette at Minnehaha Recording Company.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's our buddy, and he actually helped us out with both albums. So he's all over these, mixing, mastering, and recording.
One-stop shopping at Minnehaha Recording Company. Well, we're gonna get our ears on that shortly. So the release show is not this weekend, but next weekend. Is that correct?
Yes,
right.
April 29th. It's a Saturday, so a little late night show for you. It starts at 10. So come on out if you're free.
At Ice House.
Ice House.
Congratulations.
With and with Immaculate Beings as well.
Yes.
Oh, nice. That's a great lineup. I actually
great lineup.
Word of E. That is a really cool band. If y'all haven't seen them, maybe make an excuse to see them April 29th. Also, Immaculate Beings always deliver. But speaking of delivering, I am a talker, and we still have 3 picks on your Desert Islands list. So let's get to that so we can listen to your new music. We got some new Full Catholic. We're also going to hear from Serious Machine. But first, here's some M Ward here on Desert Islands.
Yeah,
cool. Okay, so now we got Lane.
Hey, John.
Hey, Lane.
I hope you don't mind. Like, we're kind of just throwing you like right into the frying pan here. Like, we are totally live already.
Fried Lane.
Frying pan sounds good. Haven't had breakfast.
Oh, yeah, well, me neither. maybe
Have
maybe
yourself for
that's where
breakfast.
it's
Yeah.
like a Pavlovian analogy.
I don't
But
think any of us are breakfast people.
we got the full Brady bunch now, which is nice. And we got something for next talk break. We can say Lane is joining us, but like we are, here now. Yeah, so I guess the one thing now that we have more folk here is I was wondering, with bands, it's always hard to tell how they chop up the homework assignment I give for this show. So like, how did the Desert Island picks shake out? Did everyone get a handful, or was it like, because sometimes it's just like someone in the band just doing 10 and they're like, yeah, we're, this is the band, but it's like their list. And sometimes like there's like actual votes on like who gets what and how many.
We ended up all chipping in 2 albums, and then we all pretty much collectively agreed on our 2 local albums. So I don't know why I was so surprised that he said Baby Mahi and Serious Machine, but I get excited every time I hear them. So those are our 2.
I actually was introduced to Baby Mahi through this list, so thank you for suggesting that. But also, Serious Machine is a really good band. I actually saw them live before I heard their recordings. So yeah, they haven't played them yet, but we did just hear Baby Mahi. I also didn't realize Baby Mahi was local when you put that on. I just thought it was a good record.
Yeah, Mahir. Mahir plays with. So he also has Dog Gam. And a bunch of other bands.
I didn't know that. Okay,
Yeah,
I do know Dog.
There's a lot of crosstalk between those bands.
So much talent, sure. And then the guitarist and bassist in Dog Gam is also in Serious Machine. So they're
Okay, now it's all the Mincest
collective.
Is,
yeah.
It's always been apparent, but like I guess I don't realize which roots are intertwined, because there definitely are like groupings, and it comes and goes too. Like there's like generational. It's like I don't know if you were like tracking it like fungi in a forest.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, there's like this layer of bands like all interact with each other. That's I did not know there was that much crossover from those 3 bands. Is it writing teams too, or is it just people playing with each other? Do you even know that? Those aren't even your bands. Why am I asking?
Dog Game, I think they all write. I know.
Yeah, I think that's
Rose
a lot more
written,
collaborative.
Yeah, but Baby Mahi, I think is mostly Mahir,
That's
right?
pretty much Mahir's stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes Dog Game will play some Baby Mahi tunes, I think, live, or at least they used to.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. I was gonna say, if you want to see anything off that Baby Mahi record, which is one of my favorite records, truly, go see Dog Game live, because they'll play like some of those.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think Baby Mahi gigs. I mean, just under that name, right? They kind of just folded into Dog Game, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
kind of like almost like an Elephant Six type situation.
Yeah. We've had those conversations. Yeah.
That's so appropriate too. I think we're really into Elephant Six.
That is a name it's almost like inevitable in DIY, like when that name gets invoked.
Oh yeah. So we all met in Athens, Georgia.
Oh, really?
Or we all?
Okay, so that's even spookier at this
point. Well, technically we didn't meet there. We all played music there with different people.
Right.
And at different times we're in Athens and then met elsewhere, but that's kind of what our origin is together.
Yeah, it's very, very weird. None of us knew each other in Athens.
But we lived in the same house. We hung out in the same.
Is it so? Do you have to like audition to get into the house? Like or is it like a college dorm situation where like people
that
move
house
in
is
now?
condemned.
Dude,
that house does not exist anymore.
It's shut down. Yeah. Last time I went, it was like boarded up.
There were a lot of beers served to me by different E6 band members and stuff, or like, you know,
I can imagine.
records sold. They're just kind of dotted around town, you know.
That's insane. Okay, so
everywhere.
like you already answered my next question, but so you did not know each other in Athens, and yet you're all from there. How did you all wind up here then? Because I know this is like a transplant city where you almost can like lean on that and like form bonds of just like, I don't understand what's going on here. I'm not from here. Yeah, me neither. Wait, really? Where are you from? Like, and there's like a bond you have over not being from around here. But like, how did y'all meet, let alone end up forming a band?
Well, so they're both from Georgia. I'm from Virginia.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so we all went through Athens and then ended up in the Pacific Northwest for various reasons. Lane was in, yeah. So I was working on a farm there and like doing odd jobs in film, and Lane was in school, and then Lane and John knew each other from school, and John came out on a visit, and that's kind of how we all paired up initially. But Lane and I had been like playing folk music together with mutual friends, and that's how we initially met. It's just kind of one thing led to another.
Yeah, it was, you know, Danny and I were writing a little bit of music, but John was writing a lot of music at the time.
Okay,
his own project called Leaf Sangools, and writing and recording, and Danny and I really mostly sat around bonfires and played folk songs, and usually not our own, and played open mics, and it was just fun. But then John started, you know, sneaking in a let's maybe learn this song as a group, and this one that I wrote, and we were like, wow, this is really good and really fun, and it's much more fun to play our own stuff, and then it evolved into something that's no longer just mandolins and banjos, but
yeah, and we would introduce the song here and there and just kind of in fragments work on it together, but it was really John. The whole reason Full Catholic exists is because of John, because he sat down and proposed explicitly, you know, let's see if we can make this happen, like let's send demos back and forth and actually play shows. And Lane and I were like, hadn't really even considered that, but yeah, okay, let's do it. Yeah,
this is like the herding cats aspect of being in a band, where like for the most part, I think for a band to exist, you kind of have to treat it like a cat and let it come to you. But like there does come a point where someone has to be the like, you know, like has to have that conversation of like, what are we? Like,
we exist.
This is fun, but like, is there a plan?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And
in terms of herding cats, Danny, you should talk about how this band actually did sound when we first started recording and playing.
I mean, I don't know. It's definitely been a learning process. I'll say that for sure. You know, I mean, we all write our own music. We all come up with our own songs, and you know, I sure as hell didn't think that I'd ever be playing shows at this level. You know, I just kind of was writing for myself, and I think Lane was kind of the same at the time, and John was just like prolific. Like I think you had a whole album finished by the time we even thought of this being a project.
It was a bad album, but it did exist.
It was a great album, but we've really just kind of evolved and learned together. Like this record we're putting out now, we actually recorded the initial aspects of it first before the first record we put out together.
Really?
So yeah.
Has this been shelved for that long, or was it just more like it wasn't finished being written?
Well, I mean, so this album is partially, you know, stuff that we worked on during the pandemic, and things that had been written beforehand. And then we just came back to it later, because I think we had really found our voice together as Full Catholic. We really figured out how to write together and play together, and you know, the sound became something, and we kind of figured it out and came back to this album. So there's a story to it. Yeah.
A lot of pandemic disruptions too, that I think as much as anything just kind of threw us off and somehow disrupted the finishing process. So it did get leapfrogged ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Weird fashion.
Yeah. Oh, it's it's like it seems like no matter what you do, there's still like elements of like acoustic roots in the songwriting. But like even in the Desert Island picks list, like there's other influences that I can definitely piece together, like in your own band sound as well. So it's interesting that you came back to this record. What elements were still being worked on or not being worked on that kind of like you finished the first record before this one? Like how did this circle get like start? Like where does it end and where does it begin? I guess.
I think that's something that made the second album so much easier, or it kind of went more fluidly because we had, I think, defined our roles a little bit better. We started the first album, we kind of were still like experimenting with different people playing, different people singing in some cases, different people
Sure.
playing
Okay.
instruments.
Yeah,
We didn't have a drummer when we first started recording All Is Well, the one being released now.
that
So
changed
there was a
the
lot of kind of retrofitting, and that didn't need to happen with the second album, where we just from the jump kind of everything was defined, and we kind of knew those songs more in kind of live format. It just lent itself well to the process of putting it onto tape.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think in conjunction with that, it was our first time in this project in a studio, and
Yeah.
in a studio that had a lot of tempting
Mm.
toys and things to do. And we all sort of imagined a song that probably, in retrospect, should have just been guitar, bass, drum, synthesizer with, you know, Hammond organs and Wurlitzers and Rhodes and like 35 vocals stacked on top of each other and all kinds of fun things. And so there was a huge process of like doing all of that and getting it out of our system and then pulling back on it and stripping it down.
Yeah.
So, and I think, you know, when we finally met our original drummer who played on Every Dream at Once, and we learned those songs, we felt like we could just record things live and we didn't have to supplement much. And it actually sounded a lot more raw and better that way.
Sometimes it does.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and and then once we started recording those things and heard how great they sounded and how much they sounded like us, these other sort of hyper produced things didn't sound like us quite as much anymore. So it's been, like John said, a lot of retrofitting and going back and reworking songs that we're really proud of and love, but trying to get them back to that spirit um,
Right.
of what our
Right.
band wants to sound like.
I'm amazed that you found the spirit, because or maybe this is just me, where I feel like the more I meddle, the more I remove the spirit of I was going for, and it's, you know, it becomes this dragon you're chasing, where it's just
Yeah.
like you're thinking of this moment you were like playing this tune live and you're like, oh, I want it to feel this way. It's just like, well, it felt that way because y'all were playing it that way at that moment, and you
Mhm.
were playing it this way in this moment. So like it was never going to be that way, but like, you know, try telling your brain that when it you get
Yeah,
in that loop.
That
Yeah.
could not be any more true.
that's absolutely true. And that's something we're constantly chasing for us. You know, something we're very, very, very happy with imperfection if that moment is there, you know, like that
Right.
magic and that intimacy is something that's just so critical to our music. So yeah, that can be hard to let go of if, you know, if the moment is past, or, you know, you kind of have to just let it go and let it be what it is. I think that can be the tricky part. Yeah.
Right, right. And that's where I think it helps having someone uh there to like produce, you know,
Mhm.
if that makes sense,
Yeah.
because sometimes it's I definitely get why certain projects are better off completely self-produced, but
Mhm.
there are times where it's just helpful to have someone kind of see a, maybe not the forest through the trees, but at least like a path forward where like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
something can be like, well, hey, what about this? What, you know, and it's because it can be kind of a puzzle, especially when things are recorded after the fact, of just like, well, wait a minute, like what tone do we even want anymore on
Mhm.
this? You know, like it probably has changed since we've written it, and
Mhm.
it just like adding a new element can kind of upset the balance of like what was already there, and then it's just like it becomes like a thing where it's just like, can we even finish this, or maybe that's just my insecurities being projected onto your like thanks for the therapy session, guys.
Yeah, I mean that's a learning process too. That's definitely something that I think we've come a long way in learning how to let go of our music. I'm really proud of that, because we are all perfectionists in our own ways, and but
Sure.
we're also
Yeah.
really good at communicating with each other. And I think that, you know, if someone has a really good point, you know, a song needs something or is lacking something, you have a bring a good argument to the band, and you can
Yeah.
convince everyone else like it's yours, you know. So
Yeah.
we
I
work well
think
in that
too
way.
that this, yeah, I totally agree. And I think this is where like kind of the relationships within the band are really important. And the fact that we just, you know, I think we just go back a long ways and you really care about each other. And I think that just
Yeah.
kind of facilitates what, you know, needs to be the checks and balances of kind of how you make artistic decisions. You know, it definitely
Yeah.
is easy to kind of chase the dragon or kind of be just unsure of how to find this certain something that you want, and you can definitely get down rabbit holes. You can definitely kind of warp your own perceptions after you've been listening to tracks for like 2 years or whatever.
Well,
And
of
I think
course. Yeah.
we balance each other well there.
And in many ways, like art is kind of a dictatorship, you know. Like there becomes these things where it's just like everyone just kind of has their own little sphere of influence that they like roll around or try to, and it becomes hard. It helps when you actually care about each other, which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
I think that's true. But that's a good point, because I think we've known each other long enough that we all really know and respect each other's
right.
strengths.
Yeah,
And like
you want to live
yeah,
within those borders.
yeah,
You want to live in that country.
yeah, like
Yeah,
li-
I think we're like a dictatorship with like just constant coups, like just like several per minute, so that just like this
as
nice
many
stasis
dictatorships
gets
are.
maintained. Bloodless coups that just
Yeah.
constant leadership changes, and
The
everybody can get
CIA
on top
has
sometimes.
broken up so many bands, and it's
we've passed that threshold, you know. We're familial at this point.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's part of getting over the sophomore slump. Is you
Mhm.
gotta. There's the infighting, the CIA coup, and then finally getting that second record out, and then it's joking aside, I wonder, I actually wonder if there is some sort of robotic algorithm that just kind of got turned on where it's like, they said it, now we're now, if we weren't watching before, we are now. So we're about to go on the air. Normally I would just kind of like let the conversation flow in, but there's going to be like an instrumental track, and I'm just going to talk over it. It's going to be a local calendar, so it's going to be kind of jarring. Like as soon as I come in, I'm just going to be like and then reading. So just brace yourselves for that, I guess. But probably a good point to talk about the show again, since I'll be talking about shows.
Sure.
Stand by. Low. That was off their latest record, Hey What? And we also heard some Deer Hunter, Octet, and M Ward at the top of that set. Let's talk about some things that you can hear this weekend and beyond as far as local music. That is, if you are in the Twin Cities, where we are broadcasting live, KFAI, Minneapolis, 90.3 FM. But yeah, tonight, Delicate Friend release show with Rebecca and Bad Posture Club at the Hook and Ladder. Also tonight, the Foxgloves with Mother Banjo. They are playing what their residency at Sociable Cider Works. So they have a Wednesday night thing there, and they're inviting Mother Banjo for this weekend. And yeah, tomorrow, Bikini Kill at the Palace Theater. We also have Dream of the Wild, Brotherhood of Birds, and Whiskey Rock and Roll Club at the Turf Club. Friday, Asia Minor, the Envy's Story Night at 331. We also have James Eugene Russell with Faith Boblet and Lamar at the Turf Club. Also Friday, the Gated Community with Ben Cook Feltz and Sick Eagle at Palmer's Bar. Saturday, we have... hold on. Saturday. Oh, sorry. Little Lizard is releasing a single, and they are playing a show with Love Ulysses, Cannabis Kiss, and Tim's a Rocker at Underground Music Cafe. That's Friday. Now let's talk about what's going on Saturday. Sunny Day Real Estate will be in town at First Avenue Main Room. We also have American Cream, Mar Harbine, and Silica at Palmer's. And Rich Mattson and the North Stars is going to be in town for Record Store Day. Silver Teens, The Silent Treatment, New Rocket Union, all at the James Valentine Uptown VFW. And then Sunday, Goat Whore, I Hate God, Witch Den at the Turf Club. Looking ahead, my next shows, I'm going to be at the 331 every Tuesday next month. So if you're wondering when my next show in town is, well, I got a lot of them coming up. But let's talk about Full Catholic's next show, because it is a big one, and it is not this weekend, but it is next weekend at Ice House. Is it Friday or Saturday? What is April 29th anyway? What day is it? Where am I? Who am I? Who am I speaking to? Full Catholic.
It's a Saturday night, late night, 10 o'clock. We'll be playing with E and Immaculate Being, and we'll be smack in the middle of that set.
That's a great lineup.
So
Yeah.
good.
Well, sounds great. So you're going to be supporting your latest record. So let's actually listen to that. So you put out, is this a 7-inch or a digital 7-inch? A Marry Me, Island Nation. Is this autonomous from this new record, or kind of a snippet from your upcoming record?
It's a snippet.
It is.
It will be on
It's
there.
an out of order snippet.
Nice.
But we liked how these two songs
Yeah.
sounded back to back, and how disparate they are,
Yeah.
and sort of span the gamut of extreme of our sound.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So if folks like what they hear, where can they hear it again? We're about to hear a track called Island Nation. Do you have a preferred spot where they can get their hands on this?
I would say Spotify is an easy spot, Apple Music, Bandcamp. Where else are we?
All the places. All the places.
places.
Take your pick.
Yeah.
Choose your fancy. Step
so
on up.
These are available on Spotify right now. When will the full record be available? Is that going to be the 29th as well, or is it going to be available earlier?
That'll be on the 29th. Yeah.
It's a loaded question. We just finished in the studio like 2 nights ago. So
Don't tell
the
me.
masters come in, Tony. No, he's doing a great job. But once they come in, we can get them. And
It'll be definitely on Bandcamp on the 29th. All right, I'll say that. But
Perfect.
it will most likely be everywhere else as well on the 29th.
The suspense is killing me. Well, I won't leave you
And us.
hanging any longer. Here is new Full Catholic here on Desert Islands. All right, let's make sure the Spinatron robot recognizes that they're playing your song. Because that's kind of, yeah, it's I mean, I don't know if there's a monopoly on software that radio stations use to catalog what they play, but we use Spinitron, and it's actually pretty good at like picking up stuff on its own. Like it kind of has its own little algorithmic bot that will like listen to things and then kind of like auto submit. Yeah, like it picked. There we go. So like I didn't think it picked up your stuff, and then as soon as I started typing, it started like completing it for me, and it's just like
nice.
So it's actually pretty good at picking up stuff, but a lot of stations use automated things. Just one, it's part of paying licensing to like PROs and the FCC to like actually cite your sources of whose content you're using, because also, you know, if the artists are signed up, that's how they get royalties. All, what is it, 8 cents?
Yeah.
Like that.
It's like a part like help paying the artist thing, but also like kind of would, I don't know. It's like a radio station's like a digital venue in a weird way. That's like how the license works. You kind of just have to, you know, give credit where credit is due, and Spinitron is what we use. What's cool about it though is like even if you don't pay for it, you can kind of like search if someone has played your band. Not like every radio station, but like a couple, at least a couple thousand use Spinitron. So like you can kind of like see like I don't know. It's a fun exercise too. Like if you like typing in like old records where it's just like I was having a conversation about that band Morphine the other day, and it's just like, oh yeah, it's like, do people even listen to Morphine? It's like, oh, let's listen to see if anyone's like, you know, and like 8 stations at the time were playing Morphine, which is like more than I thought, but like less than I'd like. It's like, oh man, like,
isn't it always like that?
Yeah. But it is kind of fun, but it also like it doesn't include a lot of the AAA stations or like anything owned by Live Nation. Like they have their own kind of charts, but like it's really good at picking up like international stations that will like broadcast, you know, like there, I know there's like a few stations like in New Zealand that my friends listen to. It's like, oh yeah, you can just go to their website and stream it. Like it's really good at like cataloging those stations, but it's also like really good at finding like just good college radio stations that I wouldn't know about, of just like, well, what even is in Ohio or something. But yeah, that thank you for listening to the nuts and bolts of it's this is the wonders of public radio, I guess. Like right now it can't pick up Delicate Friend, which is no, it just did. It's like edibles. As soon as you talk shit on them, they start. Welcome to the online only portion of the chat. My words, not theirs, of course. But yeah, since we are getting close to the end of the show, actually, got about 20 minutes left, less than 20 minutes. The only reason I bring that up is because the show after me is Democracy Now!, which is like way more important than my show. So I better make sure I get that on. But after this set of music, the next songs are kind of long. So we might not have another talk break where we're on air. Like it might just be internet only. So if there's anything specific we would like to kind of deliver to that audience, let me know. Because do you have performances slated after your release show, or are we kind of trying to keep that the main event for now?
We have a couple. Maybe we just want to kind of mostly
think-
promote this one, right?
Yeah, we should probably hold back on the other ones.
It's not until like kind of late June, July. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we don't have to give that away if we don't want, especially if we want to keep promoting
Yeah, but
this
I
show.
think we're playing 3 more times in town in the next few months, but nothing until June.
Sure.
late June. So yeah, this is what we're super excited about.
Yeah.
We played at Ice House over the winter for the first time and just loved it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Beautiful
Cool venue.
experience. Yeah, incredible sound. It's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the balcony situation they have
Yeah.
there. Where do y'all usually play in town, or where are you hoping to play?
We love playing Mortimer's. We've played the White Squirrel a lot. We love them. 331.
7th Street.
7th
Oh, yeah.
Street.
It's hard to
Yeah.
argue with that one.
Yeah.
We love Palmer's.
Yeah.
I'd say that's the crew that we
Yeah.
love all those.
We had our
venues.
first Turf Club show
Yeah.
March, right? Yeah.
Turf Club in March. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually really like the Turf Club. It has like a strangely good acoustics for like a bar. Like I guess it's like a gigantic bar.
Big room. Yeah.
It's definitely a rock club, but when the lights turn on, it kind of feels like a neighborhood bar in a weird way.
Yeah.
Where like at 7th Street, when the lights turn on, it kind of feels like, oh, we gotta go home.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to be here anymore. Like
nothing for us here. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas like I don't know. I really like Palmer's. I think like Palmer's is like such an underrated live music spot in the cities, because it's just like you get a good mix of stuff, but it's one of the few places where I think every place likes to say they're like, oh no, like everyone's welcome here, but like Palmer's is like one of the few spots where it's just like it kind of like lives that reputation and walks that walk, because like I see everybody at Palmer's. Like it's like literally all walks of life are just hanging out at Palmer's all the time, which is kind of like what I really dig about it. Like it just kind of feels, but like it's also a discerning listening audience. Like it's not just like, oh, we're it's like the Moss Eisley Cantina. It's just like, oh, we're just there to like, it's like, no, people go there for music. And
for sure.
Like they definitely have a discerning ear, which is like kind of fun. Part of, I don't know, because it definitely has that atmosphere of a dive bar where it's like whoa, this is like it's just like, but that also adds to like why it's so fun. I don't know. I like playing Palmer's, but I'm also at most a trio. Like I can fit up there, like fans can't really fit up there.
Yeah, that's the one thing. Yeah.
Just a big band hug up there on the stage.
Yeah, that is
dodging the neck of the bass,
Yeah.
I always love those small stages when we first get up there, and it's like just so like intimate, and then like halfway through it at most, if not a quarter of the way through, I'm like, no, we gotta move.
It's like it's kind of part of like forming the identity too. Like you're kind of like forming your own stage plot of just like, oh yeah, like I like, and then once you get used to that, you're kind of like, yeah, I kind of like being on stage, right? Actually, like just I feel comfortable over there. It's like. It's like picking your room. It's like I call this side. Like, but there is like a fun in kind of playing those gigs too. But I think the audience makes it fun, because not every bar gig is like that. A lot of them have that small stage, but it's like no one's listening to you. No one's no one's like even coming in and out of the place. Like it just kind of feels dead, where like Palmer's kind of has a hustle and bustle that kind of like makes it worth it.
People dance there too.
Yeah.
Yes, that is another thing that you don't really get other places in town.
Yeah.
Even at
We
like
played-
even at like the big venues, like I think like people just kind of enjoy. They're enjoying themselves, but they're doing this.
Yeah, I feel like that could be like a regional thing too. Like people get down in the South at shows. Like everyone's dancing. People are like, you know, just running into each other. It doesn't matter where you are. The Pacific Northwest, people didn't really dance as much. Just like a lot of just kind of
interesting
personal space, you know. So it's funny. I've kind of noticed that around the country. Like,
I have too, where it's like it's hard not to take it personal sometimes, where it's just like when you play places where it's like, oh wow, like they really like this, and then you come back, you're kind of like, whoa, man, that did not go over well, and then but people are like, no, it was really great. It's just like, oh, maybe that's just not.
They're like, you enjoyed that, yeah. Okay.
Well, I think there's like,
up here.
There's like a weird thing I've noticed. My friend Marley, who you know, no longer with us, but she used to call it the Minnesota moat, where it's just like, it's not that people aren't enjoying the show, it's just they just kind of need to stand a little far away from the show, enjoy it on their own terms, but they are there with you and enjoying it. But it's like it's weird when there isn't like that feedback. There. Like it's almost kind of like it can feel alienating at first, but like I think the reality is people just don't want to be the first one to dance. Like I think if other people break the ice, then they're comfortable getting into it, because it's not that they don't. I've seen it. I've seen crowds go crazy here. But I think no one wants to be the first one to do it. I guess I don't know. Maybe it's like there's a lot of academia here, and people are afraid of being looked at, and it's just like, nah, no one's really looking at you when you're dancing.
Maybe maybe it's like a more introverted part of the country. I'd say that's probably true.
It would make sense, because I mean you're kind of cooped up most of the year. It's like you're in solitary confinement. You're not really talking to many people. So it's like,
I mean, I relate, because on stage I'm very much in a zone that sometimes I can't even look at people in the eye because I get so distracted, and I have to kind of keep it here. So
totally. You know. Oh, absolutely. I noticed the first couple shows coming out of the pandemic, like I was so used to like not really socializing, or you know, and like a lot of the lessons I was teaching were like over Zoom, so like you didn't you almost felt like you had to like, you were like a new puppy that had to get like re-socialized in a weird way. But I noticed my ADHD, I think like I never noticed it until then. And I like, it's like I started playing without my glasses, because I like, if everything was soft and blurry, I couldn't like hyper focus on something, and then I would get distracted of like just like the people and then things on the walls, and then so the first couple shows I just like, it's like if I can't see anything, then I can just focus on what I'm doing.
That's a good hack. I like
really
that.
Weird.
Yeah, that's a good strategy.
That's
like, but I totally hear it. Like sometimes, like to get into the zone, I almost have to like put blinders on and just like become the horse. And it's just like, you just take stuff off the table. And focus on the task at hand, because it was wild. I like couldn't goldfish memory.
Like, it was bad. In our ideal scenario, we would just be staring at each other all the time.
Yeah, just a circle.
We would be in our living room where we practice, and then they would just like put holograms of us on whatever tiny stage we normally
so
play.
now this begs the question: is full Catholic shoegaze?
Sometimes, for sure.
There's a little.
you
There's a
know.
little
There's
gaze,
definitely
little
that is
shoe side eye.
we never know how to answer what we are. We
Well,
don't have a
yeah,
response.
I mean, I
We've got
guess,
some features.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, I guess that is like I mean, like, I definitely meant that as a joke, but like, you definitely have some psychedelic elements that aren't not shoegaze. You
yeah,
know?
we
And I
definitely
like
have
Yeah.
that.
shoegaze. You know,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it is harder to define when the characteristic is, you know, staring at your shoes. Stand by. It is Wednesday, my dudes. I gotta stop saying that every time I play the band Wednesday. I that is my New Year's resolution. Stop saying my dudes anytime I play the band Wednesday. But that is off of their new record, Rat Saw God. We also heard some local music by Serious Machine, Answer Me, Delicate Friend, whose release show is tonight, and the new Full Catholic, who I made a mixtape for today on Desert Islands. If you're just tuning in, well, you're kind of tuning out of Desert Islands. This is the show where I make mixtapes based on my guests, 10 records that they would bring to a desert island. And today's mixtape was for Full Catholic. I want to thank them for joining me. Also, thank you for getting me to say the that band name over and over, because it reminds me of my childhood. So, do you mind if is that where the band name came from, by the way, or is it a different set of circumstances?
Oh, it's like 30 sets of circumstances.
yeah, so many.
Yeah,
Danny,
it's
go for it.
go for it, Danny.
I mean, really, generally, we just liked, you know, representation of just all kind of embodying concept, all embracing full Catholic, you know, in the original sense of the word. But it did come out of a interesting conversation on religion and, you know, philosophizing on how all of that develops into adulthood. But we won't go into that.
Oh, of course, no, that is
And
a
the
huge
combination of syllables and vowels, it just sounds pleasant.
We really just like the way it
Yeah,
sounds.
does.
rolls off the tongue.
No, it has, there is a catchiness to it, and it's definitely evocative. A conversation
that.
we can have off mic if you want to, but I totally get well, considering we only have about 8 minutes left. Is there anything you would like listeners to know about before we get going here?
Yeah, come out and hang at our Ice House show on April 29th, Saturday. E and the Immaculate Beings playing. And we live on a tiny rock in infinite space, which is absurd. And we can imagine anything. So let's create a system that supports all of us. Let's
If
do
only,
it.
if only.
Yeah.
Man,
Well,
now we have
thank
to
you.
talk for 8 more minutes. after that.
Yeah. So we got to stretch here. Otherwise, you know, it's like I got nothing else. I got nothing else prepared. Thank you so much for joining me today. I know how weird it is to do anything at all, let alone promote an album. So thank you for taking the time this morning to do that. New Full Catholic is out now, and the full record will be out April 29th. Check them out at Ice House. Next week, I'm going to be talking with Nick Hensley to talk about his long-awaited follow-up to the love songs for angry men. So good to be talking with Nick Hensley, so tune into that next week. I want to thank Full Catholic for being on the show to play us out. Here's some Ought. Stay tuned for Democracy Now!
Right.
Woo,
Yeah, no, I love the name just because it's kind of like how I would describe my childhood. To like, I accidentally went to a Lutheran college for like 3 semesters. So like explaining the regional dialect differences was like a whole thing. Because like most people are like, oh no, like I probably know what that is. And I think I've like actually said that your band name before it existed to people, where it's like, oh yeah, I thought you said it was like, no, like I grew up Catholic, like full Catholic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like my dad was a lector, my mom
Oh, wow.
in the rectory,
Mhm.
Brothers were altar boys. I was like the receptionist at the rectory. Like all 5 people in my family were
5.
for the church.
Yeah.
That's the
Wow.
only thing that wasn't Catholic about us. So they kept the 3 kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they both came from 7 kids and 8 kids, like Catholic trademark, like big Catholic. Like I
Yeah.
said, Catholic.
Yeah. Where are
But
you
even,
from?
I grew up in Philly, so
Okay.
like it's like there's like the Irish Catholic contingent out there.
I heard you say Forest, and Lane East Coast says Forest, and I
Oh,
was
yeah, I
like, he's
say
from the East Coast.
Forest.
Yes,
He's from the East
yes.
Coast. Yeah.
I say
They're
orange.
not-
I
they're
say
totally
Florida
is.
weird.
Yeah. No one up here does the on the on the vowels.
I have there's I noticed living out here, it became muted, and it would only come out after a few drinks. But for some reason, the older I get, the more it's creeping back.
Mhm.
And I used to be kind of embarrassed by it, but now I kind of just wear it like a badge of honor.
Yeah.
It's
Wear
just,
it.
like,
Yeah, wear it
Yeah.
up.
like, because also I think it's more palatable because I don't think Midwesterners understand that I'm not yelling. Like I just grew up in Philly and this is how I talk.
This is
It's
direct communication.
like,
Yeah.
it's
I
just
feel like
it's
I don't know
it's
about
like when the
you all.
Bernie Sanders phenomenon was going on and people were like, why there's a crazy old man yelling. I'm just like,
You're like, that's just
it's
normal talk.
it's just
What?
a kid from Brooklyn.
No.
That's how he talks.
No, shut up, Matt.
I don't think he's
Yeah.
yelling at all.
Yeah.
I don't
No.
think he can help it. I can't.
The Southern accent has come out. I don't know what that phenomenon is, but my Southern accent comes out on certain words as I've gotten older too. And I don't, yeah, it's
And
weird,
it's
especially when
coming
I'm
out-
singing.
It's coming out for
I
me
do.
more
Yeah,
strongly.
that's the
since
weird thing
moving
about
up here.
singing
Yeah.
is like there are certain words that like people with heavy accents like, but when they sing, it goes away, and I don't
Yeah.
know what that phenomenon is. Where it's just like especially like I have friends on the East Coast who have thicker. Like I always kind of had a slight accent. Like my dad has some big like mid-Atlantic Phillyisms. Like definitely calls water wooder. Like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Like full on. Like that is like nowhere else but that part of the country have I heard that. I never had that. My parents have that. But like I definitely have like friends who have like the thickest, most like nasal like accent when they're talking to you, like, and they can't help it. They talk that, but when they sing, it's completely gone. And I'm like,
Yeah.
how do you even do that? Like, I don't. It's like British people when they sing, like it goes away sometimes, and it's
Yeah.
just like so I have no idea what that is. It's
Hmm.
the magic of.
It's wild.
magic
I
of-
love
remember
it.
when I learned Eric Clapton was British. I remember it just completely blew my mind after listening to it for years. Like, how? Mick Jagger is British, you know?
It is really weird, especially because like a lot of, well, especially with the Beatles, because like they were like Liverpool, like they were like they had like Cockney working class
Yeah.
accents,
Yeah.
and like you can't really pick it up on their stuff at all.
Mm.
Whereas like not this, I don't know, the. I mean, aren't all like people nepo babies when they get to that level? But like I don't want to insinuate that the Rolling Stones had posh educational backgrounds, but like I don't think they were as working class as the Beatles were. Or at least
No,
maybe
I
I'm making
think
that up.
Mick Jagger went to Oxford or one of these.
Yeah, that's
No, I
kind
didn't-
of posh.
Oh yeah.
Gosh, I
That's
understand
a
it.
little- that's a reputable establishment. I think I've heard of Oxford.
I think.
Yeah, London School of Economics, one of those.
Wow.
Not that I'm trying to shame.
Into that.
I didn't know that.
Not that I'm trying to shame Mick Jagger.
Yeah, right.
I'm not doing that. Well, yeah. Okay. Well, before all right, I've enraged Mick Jagger and the CIA and maybe the Pope. I don't know.
They need a little waking up. All right.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's
Well,
more likely Mick
Yeah.
Jagger is listening to everything everyone is saying than the CIA. I'm more
well,
worried
I mean, apparently Clapton is, because he sued that lady for selling his CD for $12 or something. But that probably wasn't Clapton. That's probably, I think everything is done by algorithm now, and something got tripped up, and that like some lawyer's office was notified, and the estate of Eric Clapton acted. I think I doubt that guy's on the internet at all. Or at least I would hope not. I hope if you get that famous, you don't
You
need to
just
be online.
shut it all
Just
off.
graduate from the internet. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
He
not.
seems to get outraged by small things. I bet he's on Twitter on a regular basis.
Yeah.
He's
I
definitely on
bet he
Twitter.
has a fake one that he uses to like spout off his opinions, where it's just like yeah. Maybe he is cat turd. We don't know. Okay, well, on that note, thank you so much for hanging out with me today.
Thank
Congrats
you.
on the release. Hope to see
Thank you.
y'all playing in person sooner rather than later. But if I don't, congrats. Enjoy the show and enjoy the day as well.
Yeah, thank you. You too. It's so good to meet you. Thanks for
Yeah,
having me.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hopefully
thanks for
we can do
having
it
us.
away from keyboard soon.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
yeah, absolutely. I had
We'd
fun
love to
talking
come
you.
see you.